Hopefully you're feeling a little bit more comfortable with components and auto layout at this point, but either way, we're going to take this lesson to get a bit more practice in. We're going to be designing the product details page together from start to finish, and this lesson's going to feel a bit different because I don't have a specific new technique that I'm teaching you, but we are going to go through, you're going to see my process of doing this entire page, and we're going to be using the techniques that we've already learned, maybe in some new and different ways. And along the way, I'll try to show you some shortcuts and things like that. So get ready to design along with me, or at least follow along, and let's hop into this page. So we've got the product details page here. I'm going to just kind of extend it so that we have plenty of room to work with. And I'm going to give us, of course, our background color of off-white. Perfect. And I'm going to just copy and paste this header right in there. So we've got that. Now, what exactly do we need on our product details page? That is a great question. We definitely need like our main product image, probably like an image carousel. So let's hit the F button for frame, and I'm just going to start to create, a box here that we're going to put this in. So first, let's not forget to turn on our layout grid. So now that we have it saved, I'm going to go layout grid, and I'm going to go to this style, and all we need to do is select our 12 column grid. So it's perfect. Got that. So we have this frame. And I think I want this frame. Let's give it a fill for now so that we can actually see what we're doing. Now, I think I want this to take up just a bit more than half of the width of the page. So let's go 7 columns in width. So that's going to give us 777 pixels. And for the height, let's go with 600. Okay, not bad. So now instead of this fill, let's just go right in there and give it an image fill. So I'm just going to pick one of these images here. Let's do this one. Okay, cool. Let's give it that 20 pixel radius. And then I'm just going to duplicate this and make some tiny ones. So each one, this is sort of like the thumbnails for the carousel. So you can click on any of these to sort of navigate to the different images. So for this, let's just give this a 4 pixel, maybe 8. Yeah, that should be good. And we'll make them each 1 column wide. And so maybe there's 4 images total. I think that should be good. And I'm going to frame these together and turn on auto layout. So that's looking good. 24 pixels in between, which makes sense because we know that our gutter is 24 pixels wide. Okay, great. So let's give that a good, let's give that a good 40 pixels of space here. I think that should be good. And then we want to make sure that one of them looks like selected. So let's make these 3 maybe like 50% opacity, and we'll give this one a nice stroke, and we'll give it that off black stroke on the inside. Okay, pretty good. So that looks selected. Let's see how it looks if we hide our columns. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't mind that. So let's give ourselves our columns back, and let's grab some buttons, and we can create our like previous and next buttons. I can really grab any button. I'm just going to copy and paste it over here, and we'll do next and previous. Okay, let's give ourselves 12 pixels in between those. That's been kind of like what we're used to doing. So that looks pretty good, but I think we want to have like our arrows in there. So I'm actually going to toggle on our icons for this. And then I think maybe this should say the full word. I don't know. Or should we just have the icons? Let's see what it would look like if we just have the icons. So instead of the star, let's give this the left arrow. And instead, that's too small. I think we need to make the arrows bigger. So I'm coming in here and I am making them bigger. Yeah, that should be good. And then I'm gonna just copy and paste that in here so that we know it's the exact size. Let's see if that looks any better. Yeah, that's definitely better. I think that's what I want to do. Oops. Is just the arrows. So we'll change this to arrow right. Okay, cool. I like that better. So we're going to keep these in line. See how whenever I kind of move these around, you can see when it's center aligned with something else, it gives you that red line. So that's good. I'm going to frame these together. Auto layout, 12 pixels between. And then I'm going to frame all of this together. Auto layout. We want to frame these together. When in doubt, frame things together. Turn on auto layout. It just allows you to use auto layout like to its fullest potential. And so here, we're going to turn this into auto, and that will make it so that there's automatically going to be, like you're automatically going to pin this content to the left and this content to the right. So that's good. That's what we want. Okay, so you turn it back onto auto. Okay, great. That's looking good. Now, remember when we were creating this little badge, when we were playing around with shapes? I want to make this into a badge that we can actually use on the product details page. So what if we had products that were like, you know, they were trying to emphasize their sustainability. So what if there was a badge that said like 100% recycled or something like that? So I'm going to make this a component. Create component. This feels big though. Like while I'm figuring out what size this needs to be, I'm going to bring the whole main component over here. Yeah, like I feel like that size is better. Maybe 100 by 100. Okay, that should be good. So now let's bring this back up with the rest of our components. Okay, we're going to name this component badge. And let's make sure we're using our brand color. So we'll use the burnt orange. And then I think the off-white text will look good there. Now, I think we need to use two different text styles. So let's do 100%. We'll have that in this like H4 so that it's nice and big. We'll, center it. And then let's do recycled in a smaller font. Let's see if that will fit nicely or not. Yeah, I think button text would be better. And we want to make sure that it's that off-white. Then we'll just position that so that it's like visually centered. Okay, and there's our badge. So I'm going to just copy and paste that in here. And then similar to before, we're going to actually hop into this image frame. And inside the image frame is this badge. So therefore we want to turn on auto layout on the image frame. So I'm going to come up here, auto layout, and we want to pin the contents to the top right. So in order to do that, I am going to turn off, or let's see, we want it pinned, top right, but we have like a lot of padding happening here. So let's see what 24 looks like. Oh, and now we don't want this to hug contents. We actually want it to be fixed height, and we had said before 600. So that is fixed now. Okay, that's good. So we have on auto layout, we have 24 pixels on the top and the right, and we're pinning it to align right. So that looks pretty good. So now, navigation wise, we definitely need a way to like go back. So what if we were on this page and we wanted to go back to like our search query? We need a link that says back to list. So I am going to hit T for text, back to list. The button text should be good for that, but let's make sure we're using our off black. And then I'm going to grab, actually, I think we want just the arrow. We don't really want a button. So I'm going to go up to assets and grab an icon here and switch it to arrow left. And then we'll kind of line that up with this inside a frame. So frame selection, auto layout, I think 8 pixels should be good. And we're just going to align that with the top of here. And on the left, we'll align it with this column. Okay, so there is that. And now we need some product information. So let's name this product the Seagull chair. And we'll do like a pretty sizable font here. Let's align it left. And obviously we need to make it our color. We'll align it to here again. Okay, so now we're going to need a description. So I'm just going to copy this. We'll make it the body. And then we're just going to, let's do like 4 columns for this. And then I'm just pasting in some text that I grabbed from Google Bard. I just asked, you can ask ChatGPT or Google Bard to just like generate a paragraph about a chair that would go on a product details page. So, you know, it's just sort of an easy way to come up with some filler text. Okay, so we have that. And then I was going to put the price like above this, but I actually think that it makes the most sense to have the price on the button, like at the bottom of all of this. And that's because depending on like the color, so we're going to also have a color picker here. We'll make this the button text. And we're going to have like quantity. Since the price will depend on those things, I think it's better to have the price below it so that it can like reflect these changes. So let's turn off the icon and we'll just do add to cart. And I'm going to do a bullet point. So again, I'm holding option and then 8. And we can do like $4.99. Okay, cool. So now let's do the color and quantity. So for the color, I'm basically just going to, let's do F for frame. And what we're going to do is, let's give this a fill. We don't need to use our text style, or I'm sorry, our color styles for this because like our brand colors, because these could obviously be like any color. So let's make one that's like sage green-ish. So we'll make it a pill shape. We'll grab this. And we'll turn this into just like auto width. So we'll call this sage. And we'll use the off-white. And let's make it just the body text. Should be good. We want it centered, and then we want to frame these together and put on auto layout so we can like center this inside of it. Okay, that looks pretty good. So then we'll do maybe 16 pixels on either side. And yeah, 4 on the top and bottom feels pretty good. Okay, so there's that one. Actually, this can probably be even smaller. Let's do the caption text. That looks better. Okay, let's turn off our grid so we can really see what this is looking like. Okay, let's make another one that is like blush. And then we'll make this more of like a pink blush color. Okay, and then let's do one like camel. And then last one, we'll do gray. Okay, and now let's frame these together. Turn on auto layout, and we'll do 8 pixels between them. That should be good. And then let's make one of them like a selected state. So we will, let's just basically give this like an external border. So turn off the fill, add a stroke, just position it just sort of outside. There we go. And then we'll make this that same sage color. Maybe this needs to be like this. And then what if it was 2 pixels? Nah, I think 1 is good. Okay, and then let's just make these like 75% opacity. Maybe this should be our off black so that it looks, yeah, I think that looks more like a selected state. Okay, so then, but we do need to like frame this together. So frame selection. So now we've kind of taken it out of this frame, which is fine. So we just need to put it back in there. So we wanted 8 pixels between them. Frame selection, auto layout. Okay. So this is looking good. Let's change this to auto width as well so that then we can put, yeah, 12 pixels looks good there. Maybe this, I'm just going back and forth, but maybe this does need to be 2 pixels. Maybe 1.5. Yeah, that's better. Okay, cool. And then for quantity, again, auto width. We'll start with 1. Maybe we can use the button for this. So let's grab this button. Let's make this show icon and make this the white. Let's use the 5% black. So first we'll make it filled black. And then what we're going to do is detach this instance. Let's make this, get rid of that. We'll just make this the number 1. And then we need some like up and down arrows for this, which I'm not sure if we have yet. So we can easily add that to our icon set. So I'm just going to select on this one and hit plus to duplicate it. And then we'll just get rid of this, go up to our pen tool and just draw kind of like a triangle here. We'll make sure it's centered in there. Make sure it's the right color. In order for it to match up with these, we want to make sure it's also the right thickness. And then we need to kind of soften that corner. So we'll go in here and do a rounded join. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So we're going to call this arrow up, because I just realized this actually needs to be pointing upwards. Make sure that this is like perfectly centered. Cool. Then we'll just duplicate that and arrow down. We'll just flip this guy. I'm gonna make sure it's centered. So now we can come down here, go into our assets and grab an icon, make it off-white, switch it to arrow up, and then let's just duplicate that and switch it to arrow down. Okay, so now let's give this a little bit more space. And like I said, we want this background actually to be that like 5%. So now I'm going back in. We're just going to make these off black. Okay, and there's our quantity stepper. So something about that looks wrong. I actually think what I want to do is frame these together and put them on top of each other. I think that will make way more sense. Okay, and then we'll just give this on either side like a good 24. And let's make that a bit smaller. And I think we just maybe we need to just make these smaller. So we need these to scale. So instead of center, if you'll remember, we need to switch these to scale. Okay, so then if we go in, let's make these 16 instead of 24. There we go. Let's give a little more space between these and a little less space on either side. Let's see if this said 2, what would it feel like? I feel like it just needs more room on the left side. So I'm going to like manually add 20 pixels of padding over there. Okay. And finally, I think we've got that in a good place. So we have 12 pixels there. So we need to have 12 pixels of space there as well. We can frame these together. We can frame these together and name this color. And that way, when we go to frame all of these together and turn on auto layout, we can kind of manipulate that. So I think overall this is pretty good spacing, but let's do 32. And then let's do a little bit less space in between these. So if we're going to frame that and call this description or title and description, we'll call this product info. Okay, so for this, we'll make it 16. And then we want for this to, not fill the container. For this, we actually want it to we need to turn on auto layout and then it will hug. Perfect. Now I'm realizing for this button, I actually want to make this a bit bigger. So let's just give it some more padding on either side. So let's give it 16 on the top and bottom or maybe even 24 on the top of them. 18. Yeah, and this just gives it the appearance that it's a bit bigger. We could also change this button text to be huge, but I don't think we need to. I think this is this is pretty good. And so we could come up with another button style for this that's like button large. So if we decided that we were going to use this across the whole design, we might do that. So let's create one actually that's button large. So we'll just add one here and we'll call this button large. Large. And we'll do exactly what we just said. We'll add some padding. That's looking good. That way it's kind of in line with the size of these category buttons here. I think that will work well. Okay, so then let's go here. And what we want to do is actually reset all changes and change this to large. And then we can turn this off and add to cart. $4.99. Okay, perfect. So now we have the right components. We have everything super organized. And now I think I want to have this just like 64 pixels away from here. I think that will be good. That will keep it nice and centered in there. But I think that should be perfect. Now let's set the spacing for this. So we have 91 pixels in between here. So let's make that a little bit more intentional and just make it 64. That feels pretty good. Okay, awesome. So now we need to add a section with like more information, like maybe product specs, warranty information, reviews, things like that. So let's create that section now. So let's just grab this headline, this header font, and instead of H2, let's use H3 for this. And we're just going to align it here. If it helps, you can always put your grid back on. So I think that would be helpful. In this case, we're just going to align it right there, which is making me realize this is not aligned. There we go. That's much better. Okay, so here, actually, maybe we want to do H4. I don't think it needs to be that big. Let's do details, product specs, reviews, warranty info, and that should be pretty good. We will make these maybe 64 pixels from each other. Okay, let's turn off this for a minute so we can see what we're dealing with. Okay, and then let's grab a line and we'll do it across sort of the whole page, except of course leaving our gutter, that 45 pixels. 32 should be good here. And basically we're going to have content inside of here. So let's do this differently. So let's frame these together and we'll call this labels. And then one of these needs to be like the selected state. So let's copy this line here and we'll make details the selected state. So let's give ourselves like a good 4 pixel stroke here. Instead of off black, let's use the orange and we'll do orange here too. And this way we kind of know what we're selected on. And let's give this, actually let's select all of these lines and make sure that we have rounded sort of edges on them. And then we'll bring this to the middle so that we can really see. And let's make this 5. Okay, that's not bad. Now it's feeling a little bit awkward, like because these are different widths. So I think instead of 1 pixel, I'm gonna make all of them 4 pixels. line them up with each other, and then we'll make this that like 5%. So let's see, what does 5% look like? I think that might be, is that too subtle? Let's try 20. Yeah, that's not bad. Maybe 12. Yeah, I think that will work. And then let's try this at off black, and these, let's try them regular weight. Yeah. Okay, this is feeling a lot better to me. So now let's figure out what content needs to be in here. So I'm just going to copy this paragraph for now. Let's give this like, we'll turn on our grid for that. I think lining up here is fine. So maybe we have 2 paragraph sections here and then like a bullet point section here. So let's just make up some bullet points. Over 10,000 5-star reviews. Lifetime warranty included. Sustainably sourced materials. And award-winning design. And then to make these more like bullet points, let's actually get rid of this style so that we can increase the line height. Maybe 32 would be good. Okay, and then we need to leave some room for icons. So let's just see. We have some great icons for these already designed. So for the 5-star reviews, let's grab our star icon. For lifetime warranty, let's do the shield. For sustainability, we can do the globe. And for award-winning design, we can do this ribbon. Now, let's make sure we have these 8 pixels between them is good. That lines up nicely. And then maybe 12 pixels there. Okay. So this is looking good. Let's frame this together. And I'm trying to think what makes sense here. I feel like if this is kind of just centered within this space, that might be good. Or let's see. Let's see what it looks like if we turn off the grid. Yeah, this needs a little bit more space. So that's 24. So let's just double that and do 48. Cool. So another instance where we're breaking the grid, but we're doing it, intentionally. And then let's center this in here. So let's see. 60. Let's do 64. And 64. That should be good. Okay. So now we'll frame this together. And let's give ourselves a section for like other products you might like. So similar products. We'll do, H3 should be good. Let's give ourselves a good 120 pixels. And then we can just grab, let's do the 3-up grid. And we can do 40 pixels of space here. Or maybe like other products you might like. I kind of think that's a better title. Okay, awesome. Now we can just add in the footer. So again, let's give ourselves 120 pixels of space in between those sections. Let's turn off this grid and see how we're looking. So only thing, we didn't really pay attention to this spacing, and that seems too much. Let's make it 120 instead of 162. Cool, 120. That way we can just tighten this up a little bit. And this is looking really good. Awesome. When we go to prototype, we're going to be making these things interactive and some of the other elements. All right, and that is the product details page. So with 3 major pages designed and ready to go, let's use the next few lessons to learn how to prototype some crucial transitions and interactions.